I'm Mathew Kerbis, the subscription attorney, and this is Law Subscribed, your dedicated source for all things subscriptions and the law. Thank you to my sponsors. See links to them in the show notes. Everything discussed is only for educational and entertainment purposes. Enjoy the show. Okay. All right. Looks like we're live. We're live on LinkedIn. I used to call them special episodes of Law Subscribed, but
they're all special, baby.
They're all special, but hey, look, like I feel like I'm recording like half of my podcast episodes now just on LinkedIn Live. So as you see here with me, if you're here live, I've got Tyson Mutrux from Maximum Lawyer. Tyson, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Matthew. This is awesome. This is really cool. So it's been fun just chatting with you beforehand. So, but really cool. I know you and I were on a panel a couple of years ago. It was ever since I've met you, it was kind of followed you a little bit. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Friends of the show, Answering Legal, Nick Worker, right? I think that's off the top of the head. So I'm pretty sure it's Nick and with the Answering Legal team. Yeah, something about law firm management or something or other. They do things every year.
Yeah. I'll have to take your word for it because I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but yeah, that sounds right though.
Yeah. So yeah, and I had been listening. I came across Maximum Lawyer before that, but it was the first time I was on a panel with you. I launched my practice, just for your information, Tyson, a little over 3 years ago. I've been practicing for around 11 years.
Nice, congrats.
And so the thing is when you're getting ready to go solo or start your own practice, you do a search. I mean, this was before AI, right? I did a Google search. Now I ask Perplexity, right? Like, give me step-by-step instructions on how to start a law firm.
Everybody's an expert too, right? Like, there's so many experts out there too these days. So it's a little combination of both.
Yeah. But it was like bar associations had stuff that was dated and old and not useful, like literally 10 years old. Like at the time that I was thinking about going solo, like over 4 years ago. And then there was Carolyn Oliphant stuff, My Shingle, and like Maximum Lawyer. And there were some other podcasts and some other things out there, but not. And I remember because you and Jim, your audio game was mediocre back then. I mean,
terrible. It was beginning. It was terrible. That is what it was. Yeah. It was awful.
Yeah. And so, I mean, okay, so let's say MaxLawCon is coming back. It's Maximum Lawyers, you do a few things throughout the year, but it's like a big conference where you have a lot of speakers coming. I'm a speaker. So I don't want to hide the ball too much for those of us joining live, because you and I could probably just chit chat for
100%,
30 minutes.
No.
So anyway, so the big conference coming up. But I remember, I mean, like when I got started, like my video quality was terrible. My audio was good because I did some podcasting and some voiceover work, but my video game was really bad. And I keep them all live. Like, do you still have those old episodes like out there if people wanted to go see how terrible you used to sound?
They're all, so it's funny because all of the beginning ones were only audio. So I'd say the first maybe two years were all audio because I think we're at like 900 episodes or 800. We got I don't know how many. We got a bunch of episodes, and I think the first recordings we had were on Skype. We had to download some. We paid for some little widget that would record it, and it was, the audio quality is better, but we didn't record the video. It was just audio, and then we went to like a conference line that we would call into, and it was just. The audio was terrible. It really is. If you go back, the audio was terrible. And then we eventually at some point we're like, okay, let's get serious about this. So we went to video, and like now we're like, I do a lot of them in person. So which is completely different than looking at a screen. I enjoy it a lot. It's a lot of fun, but it is interesting. I do sometimes think about like how we started and where we are now. It's way different.
Well, this is what I'll say is a little bit of an audio snob. I was not happy when it was bad audio quality, but I was like, this is such good content. Like, I need to keep listening despite the bad audio quality. So I like huge improvement. Like, and it's just for me as a listener, when you made that change.
I bet, I've not thought about this. What we could probably do is go back, use AI to clean up all the audio, and then it would probably sound a lot better.
I definitely go back sometimes and I'll remaster old episodes and re-release them. Like if they're good
idea.
Ones. Yeah.
Really good idea.
Yeah. And it's still not as good as like recording with the high quality equipment, but the AI does wonders these days.
It is. Like if I couldn't have even, if you had told me back in 2015, 2016, whenever we started, that all of the tech would advance as much as it has in 9 years, because we just celebrated 9 years last week, and it was like I wouldn't have believed you. I just wouldn't have believed you because like you can plug a lot of this now into AI, and all the editing is done. You can do the clips, like use like Opus One to like do all your clips for social media, and it's a different ballgame. It's fun to watch. That's why I love about it. To me, like you're a tech person, I'm a tech person. I love how the AI is advancing and all the different tools we have available. To me, it's a really neat time.
Yeah, yeah, and but I want to even bring it back to just the point that the content was so valuable that despite the bad audio quality, you and I could talk tech all day. I know,
Oh,
I have,
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
and we will, like, and there's going to be tech talk, like you guys talk tech on the Maximum Lawyer podcast and the Facebook group, and we're going to be talking tech at MaxLawCon. But like the point is the content is valuable, right?
Yep.
Just like whether you're a paid member of the of the guild, right? That's what you guys call it.
Yep, Max Law Guild. Yep.
Max Law Guild, or you're just a listener of the podcast, you're in the free Facebook group, like all the content's super valuable, whether it's bad audio quality or not.
No kidding.
So my question for you that is like, how do you keep it high quality? Like what I can hopefully expect that myself as a speaker and the attendees of the upcoming MaxLawCon this October can expect similar quality. Like how do you keep doing that?
It's a great question, because it was something that Becca and I we focus quite a bit on it, where a lot of it's about being current. That's a part of it, but it's not always about being current. A lot of times, whenever we try to focus on things that people are going to want to hear, because when you've done it this long, you kind of go in these like different ebbs and flows. I think there was a time where some of the content wasn't super great, just because sometimes we would have people on that would just pitch. We were talking about pitching, like people kind of pitching. Sometimes we'd have people that would kind of pitch during the podcast. And so a little bit learn over time, the types of guests that our people want. A lot of it's about listening to our people and what they want. I've always kind of joked about how Max Law has been this crowdsourced thing over times, whether like, that's why it's always evolved. It's like went from just the podcast and a Facebook group, the conference and the guild and all that. And then the quarterly masterminds, it's really evolved over time. A lot of it's just like listening. But what I really try to do going into episodes now is we have something called an insight brief, where we have all this information on the guests. I mean, a ton of information. We used to just show up. We used to just show up. What are we going to talk about? But now what I do is I show up. I've got a full brief on them. I've got a list of questions, and I don't always use the questions. I'll use them a little bit as a guide, but if the conversation is interesting to me, we'll go down that route. Like there's been episodes in the last 6 months where we talked 30 minutes about something unrelated to the law. It was just because I thought it was really interesting. I think people would find it interesting. So I think a big part of it though is just being prepared, but listening to people, what do they want, and then also just being curious. I mean, being curious is a good part of it too, because usually if I'm curious about it, I think the listener's probably gonna be curious about it too.
Well, you're also a litigator. How many depositions do you think you've taken?
I couldn't even begin to tell you that. I have zero idea. I couldn't even guess within 100. I have no idea. That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea.
Look, I mean, I've probably taken around 100, because I was a litigator for 8 years, but I didn't always get to do the depositions in the first few years, and I'll tell, like, lawyers will ask me, like, I want to start a podcast, or I've got a CLE called Podcasting for Lawyers, right? And I'm like, well, if you're a good litigator who conducts depositions, like, you're good at listening, you're good at asking questions, take an interest in, the deponent, and like, you could do it. Just don't be as adversarial in a podcast interview.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I think doing the podcast has made me such a better job on my depos. It really has improved, because it has taught me a lot about that, like that listening part of it, and waiting and going where the conversation takes you, as opposed to like being stuck to an outline. That has helped me tremendously, and just being able to think on your feet has helped quite a bit too, in both ways too, with litigation to the podcast litigation. So yeah, there is a lot of crossover, I'd say.
Yeah, and I bring that up also because some of my listeners might not know. Like, we just talked about Maximum Lawyer. You're a practitioner. Like, you're practicing. You own your law firm. You're running a legal practice, and you have Maximum Lawyer. But and my listeners are also the more business-minded attorneys, right? And so they are thinking like about the business structure. So you're not I mean, you're very involved. You could tell us about your exact role with Maximum Lawyer, but you mentioned Becca. She's CEO of Maximum Lawyer, right?
She's CEO. She runs the company. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And so you're not like this is not your full-time job, Maximum Lawyer. Your full-time job, practicing attorney, owner of a law firm, right? So I just want to make that distinction there. And personal question for me, because I like with Law Subscribed, for growing strong for the last 3 or so years, people ask me, well, why are you still practicing? Like you should just be teaching lawyers how to do this. Cause I do I have limited time to teach lawyers how to do what I do, but I do a little bit of that. But for me, I feel like I would lose all credibility the moment I stopped practicing law. And so I wonder if that's maybe part of the reason why Maximum Lawyer is still as high quality as it is you didn't give up practicing law to just coach lawyers on how to be better law firm owners.
I have pretty strong feelings about this. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. One, I mean, I enjoy both. Mm-hmm. Could I give up one over the other one and still make a good living? Yes, but I don't want to. I enjoy thoroughly both of them. I enjoy them a lot. I love talking to law firm owners, but I also love the litigation side of, injury law. So, but that is a big part of it. I think that's what probably differentiates people like you and me versus non-lawyers that have their podcasts and all that. Not that there's anything wrong. I think there's a place for all of us. I've got the rising tides, mentality, but I do think that is what differentiates us. And so I think that does give us a lot of credibility. I also, it's interesting because I've evolved over the years when it comes to the practitioner running the firm too. I have evolved a little bit, and I do think you can successfully run a firm. And let's say you have you're successfully running the firm and then you've got someone else who's litigating files and all that. I do think it's definitely possible you do a good job. But I also think that I used this example just the other day, so I'll use it again. Like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs understood the tech. He understood the tech. He understood what people wanted. And I think it's really hard to run a firm if you don't understand your niche and you're not in the trenches at least a little bit. To really do a great job. I do think you're going to have that disconnect, and it's hard to run a highly successful firm. I mean, I use John Morgan like I did the other day. John Morgan, he still understands injury law. He still understands it. He thoroughly understands it. He runs the business. You're not going to see him in a courtroom, but he still thoroughly understands injury law. And I do think sometimes people, they think, oh, I'll just run the firm and I'll just do the business stuff. And that they don't need to understand what it's like to be a really good practitioner too. And I think that's flawed thinking. But back to your original question, that is a big part of it though. I think it's important that I stay tapped into my firm, still practice to really maintain what we want to do with Max Law.
Now I know you've got injury lawyers in the firm name, but your name is also still part of the brand of the firm. So what have you been thinking about in terms of you talk about having a niche. I call it niche,
Yes.
Why have your name? You're having your name, a person's name in the firm doesn't help with that.
It's really funny you say that. So I mean, most people don't know this story, so it's fun to tell the story.
Sure.
All right. So I had a partnership before. So I had my firm, had a partnership. We split up and I had my firm again. And I kept all the IP and I wanted to keep the logo and it was MF, right? So it used to be Mutrux Law Firm. And then I had a partnership and the name was MF, the firm name with the last names. So that's why we went to Mutrux Firm Injury Lawyers and we put in Injury Lawyers because we wanted to be able to use that in Google.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to your more on point, we have a name that we are going to test out does not have my name in it. I've run it by a branding person, and so we're going to test it out. I will not close the current firm until we've tested that out. But if it works successfully, then that will most likely it'll take over the current name. But because I do think I think that is a smart decision, having more of a trade name than using my actual name.
Yeah. And I think finding a niche trade name too is valuable because at the end of the day, my firm is Subscription Attorney LLC. And it doesn't really tell you anything other than you may subscribe to this attorney. And which is true. And I have gotten clients who they think, oh, I specialize in subscription businesses, which I don't. But if you're in Illinois, I can still help you, even if you're a subscription business. So I don't say no to those clients because
it gives off that vibe though. It definitely does.
Yeah. And like, I am not a subscription compliance legal expert. In fact, I know some lawyers who are, and I do follow those updates, click to subscribe, click to unsubscribe, FTC regulations and all that stuff. Right. But like, even when like most subscription businesses that want to hire me are services based, not products based. Right. And so to that extent, I know that part very well because I am in that industry myself personally, not selling a subscription box or something like that. Right. Which I've had one of those clients, but I have found, and I'm curious to know about your experience with the Guild and the Facebook group, like good trade names for lawyers. Like I always point to Matt Stevens, Provider Legal, right? He's just subscription-based legal services for medical and dental providers. Provider Legal, boom, there you go. Like that's a prime example.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I actually I'm trying to pull this up because I want to make sure I got the name right. And I'm glad you asked because I actually wanted to give these names. So there's two people that came immediately to mind. And one of them is Jordan Ostroff down in Florida. And then the other one is Josh Rorschach. And so give me a second. I'll pull up there because I know I've got Jordan's up here. I think his is freaking awesome. To me, it's the best one. It's Driven Law, and all they do is car crashes. And I think it's a beautiful name. So Driven Law. Now, I think if it were mine, I would probably put Driven Injury Law is probably what I would do. But Driven Law. And then the other one is Josh Rorschach. His is Onward Injury Law. And I really love that one too. His branding looks beautiful on it. I think that both of those two really, so his is Onward Accident and Injury Law is the name of it, full name of it. But Driven, there's a lot though.
Jason Foscolo has the Food Law Firm, and he's the food lawyer. The Food Law Firm.
See, I like that one. No, but now here's what my question is. I don't know what that means though. What does that do? What does he do?
He a lot of like food stuff. He does subscription-based legal services if you're on the supply chain for the food, when people are buying and selling food, ingredients, other things, the farms. You probably could call it the Farm Law Firm too, probably.
Yeah. So I had someone on the show. It's a family law firm. It was Forever After. What is the phrase? What the saying?
Yeah, that makes me think of estate planning, right? Forever After, or their estate planning.
No, it's not. That's not the full one though.
Okay.
So it has to do. So it's Happily Ever After is like the term. So then, but the name of the firm is Happy Even After is what the name of it is. It's
divorce.
It's for divorces.
Yeah, that's divorce.
Happy Even After I think is the name of it. Which I thought I was like, what a beautiful, wonderful way to do it. I thought that was really cool. Although I asked her why she didn't do Happily Even After, and she just said she wanted it to be happy. So personally, I would have wanted it to be Happily Even After.
Well, then you have to type more. Then every time.
That is true. And people may struggle with typing out happily and spelling it correctly. So she's probably right about it. But it's like my own personal application. I want to be able to say Happily Ever After or Even After, but cool. It's a beautiful name either way.
Yeah. Just looking at some of my past lists, 360 estate planning, right? That tells you what it is. Learning and legacies law, seed counsel, so like, there are some good trade names out there. You and I aren't using them right now.
No, not at all. I do wonder what you think about. So Paul Yokobitis has a firm, a really successful firm out in North Carolina, and it's Cary Estate Planning is the name of it. And so it's for Cary, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that name?
I think it's genius, and here's why. How many clients does he actually need, depending on how big he wants his firm to be, for the revenue he wants to generate, for the money he wants to put in his pocket, right? Because like for me, I could practice law in the whole state of Illinois. 80% of my clients are pretty local to me because people hire you because they know, like, and trust you, especially stay subscribed to you. And so like based on the nut that I want to hit, local is great. If you have a niche market and you could tap into it, I think it's phenomenal.
So I do too. I was wondering if you had a different thought, because a lot of people think that, you're going to do a trade name, it must be more of a national thing. But I love it too. I'm surprised no one had it actually, because Cary is not like it's not like it's a super small town. It's not huge, but so I thought it was a great name. But then also it is something that you could expand with nationally if you had to. If you really were wanting to go national with it, you could use that to go national. It's Cary estate planning. That could apply to people could think that's a name. There's probably the city Cary is probably in a lot of different states. So I thought it was a brilliant name too. And he was his very first day of running his law firm he was on the podcast. So I always kind of monitor Paul to see how he's doing because he's always crushing it. He's just killing it.
Yeah. Well, focus, right? Like if you're focused and even on like a geographic region, I think that's incredibly powerful. And just a reminder, this is a live show. Emmett Naughton just chatted in LinkedIn saying naming is hard.
It is.
Naming's hard.
Yes. It's funny because Jim Hacking, so we mentioned it before, he's awesome at naming things. He's really good at naming things. It's some people just have a knack for it. And I think it's really difficult. And especially there's ego part of it too. People want to put their name in it because of the ego, but then also you want something that's different. You want people to know what you're going to do, like subscription, like same thing with yours, right? It's hard to come up with something when in the legal space. I think people want to have it professional and they want their peers to not make fun of the name. I think that's part of it too, but there's a lot of things that make it difficult.
Well, let me tell you about the brand new sponsor for Law Subscribed, Paxton. I've been using Paxton as my legal AI tool for over 2 years. I continue to evaluate and demo other legal AI tools in the market and still decide to stick with Paxton because of its reliability, its accuracy, its ease of use, affordability, and they do not lock you into a long-term contract. Now, as a transactional and fractional general counsel attorney, I'm using Paxton for all of my substantive and non-substantive legal work, whether that's legal research, analysis, drafting, or enhancing existing legal work product. In the time it used to take me to draft and analyze legal documents, now, after a little bit of back and forth with Paxton, I have something ready to go in minutes that used to take hours or even days. While I'm no longer a litigator, I could see how valuable Paxton would be when researching a new issue, preparing for a deposition, drafting a motion, or going to trial. So if your firm would benefit from using Paxton as your legal AI tool, then make sure to use the link in the description when signing up to let Paxton know I sent you. That's all about our new sponsor. Now back to the show. Well, I have 2 domains that I don't use, but they redirect to my firm, which is Kerbis Legal Service. Because what if I did want my name in the brand, right?
Right.
So it's good to have that as a backup just in case for the right clients, particular clients, maybe want an attorney's name in the firm, right? Mm-hmm. And then I have offloadlegal.com.
Oh, I like that one a lot. And what would you do with that one though?
Well, so the reason I got that is I found, and I think, this is depending on the type of lawyer that you're on, I think that we could all benefit from networking with local chambers of commerce. Like I do a lot of in-person networking and I'm always giving a pitch. You have 15 to 30 seconds, depending on the group, to like give a pitch and like say who you are and what you do. And I found myself using that. Offload your legal services to me every month so that you can get back to what you enjoy in your life and your business. And so I was like, offload legal, like there's something there. But then I did do a little bit of market testing with it, and it's like offload, like you're like a freeloader, offloader, so there's some negative connotation, and don't get me wrong, like what people who post pictures of their dogs on their website, and they're like, if you don't think that that's fun and cool, like you're not a good fit for us as a client, right? So I get that, but I don't know, I just didn't want to go all in on that brand, but I still keep it. I pay for the domain, so we'll see.
I was going to ask you, so I'm trying to pull up on my GoDaddy account because I've got multiple. It used to be HostMonster, HostGator, now I've got GoDaddy as well.
Yeah.
How many URLs do you actually own?
I think I'm in the 40s right now.
Yeah, because I don't know how many I have. It's a ton. I'd say I probably have at least 40 because I started just collecting them. I'm like, oh, I'll use this at some point. Though I don't know if it's the best. Is my favorite that I have because I think it's funny, and I have it redirected to my site. And David Haskins had told me to get it, and I think it's hilarious. It is bigtimelawyers.com.
Oh, that's great.
He's like, he texted me one day. He's like, hey, bigtimelawyers.com is available. You should get it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get it. And then he said also bigtimeballer.com. So I bought bigtimeballer.com. I own that one as well, which is funny.
So that reminds me, I wanted to say, sports teams are inherently local geography, but national, international brands, right? So it could totally be done, right? Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. I have 66 in GoDaddy is what I have.
Okay. I'm at 48. I just checked.
Yeah.
Here's one I just
Waste of
got,
time.
Tyson.
It's probably a waste of money for most of them, really.
I mean, look, it's like $30 a year, or whatever it is, you know, it's
Right.
like, and it's expensible, you know, it's a business
Absolutely.
expense. So I got just recently my most recent domain that I purchased, which was available because I did a series with Lauren Lester called How to Run a Law Firm in 2025.
Oh, nice.
So I got howtorunalawfirm.com, and it redirects to those 18 episodes.
That was available?
That was available. Howtorunalawfirm.com. I know.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
I was
good on you.
I was thinking I did that How to Run a Law Firm series with Lauren. Now I gotta do that with other attorneys who are into that topic. So maybe future joint series for me and you, Tyson. How to Run a Law Firm. We'll post.
I like it. That'd be
the
fun.
episodes.
That'd be a lot of fun.
We batched it, so we did like 5 recording sessions that netted 19, 30-ish minute episodes.
That's pretty cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I have things like blockchain legal hub, crypto legal hub, law in the metaverse, law in the meta. Like when the metaverse came around, I just grabbed up a bunch of those domains, and they're all worthless now.
Can I ask you about the meta stuff? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I never got it. I never thought it was going to work out. Like, do you think in like 20 years, like we're going to be like in the metaverse, like hanging out and stuff?
We are right now, Tyson. It's just not virtual reality. This is metaverse, baby. Like what we're doing.
Okay, well, I don't count this. To me, this is different. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you put on the goggles, you're gonna be walking around. Do you think that that's going to be a thing?
So I don't know if that is, but like if we do this brain computer interface thing, like might be some like version of that. Like I always liked mixed reality more than I liked full virtual reality, right?
Yeah.
Like the Google Glass, now the Ray-Ban Meta products, right? Like
I have Ray-Ban Meta. So they're pretty cool.
That's metaverse. I really think mixed reality is like it like counts as metaverse, but where the blockchain and crypto stuff comes in, which I mean, look, Bitcoin is on a tear. I only own some through like some like, you know, I did something a while ago where if you spend money on here, you get rewards in Satoshis.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a long time ago. So I have a little bit, but I've never actually brought it up. So I'm not really into that crypto space from a cryptocurrency standpoint. But I think with AI and copyright and like IP ownership and stuff, you can tokenize. You know, NFTs is not like a good term anymore. It's a toxic term. But you could have like non-fungible tokens. You could tokenize fractional ownership and intellectual property that is pulled and leveraged in AI to generate images, text, whatever. So I actually think the underlying technology fused with AI might be a way to handle royalty payments in the future. And so that's the only reason I'm keeping some of these domains for crypto and metaverse stuff.
Yeah. I would love to hear more about that. So, all right. Because you're going to have to explain to me how that works. And I kind of understand it, but so right now, let's say like we're going to use like the NFTs for an example, right? If someone were going to do something with that NFT to pay that royalty, like you'd have to, it's kind of like the honor system, right? Is that how it works?
No, I don't think so, because like the idea behind blockchains is that it's verifiable and it's on like multiple servers, right?
Okay.
And so the idea being that, and this is also like, I'm a total novice at the underlying technology, right? Like just like with AI, I understand it at a high level and I understand how to use it. I don't necessarily understand the underlying technology completely, but like what separates a cryptocurrency, which is fungible, like a Bitcoin could be exchanged for a Bitcoin, a dollar for a dollar, versus a non-fungible token or just tokenizing in a unique format, like anything, a fractionalized anything, is it's wholly unique unto itself, right? But it could be identified wherever it's plugged or pulled from or seen on, because it's kind of just like, these are just like complicated spreadsheets, right? With like long hashes with unique configurations. So the idea would be that, this AI art that, you know, whichever model you're using, I like to use, I've tried to use a lot of them. I can only generate good images the way my brain works inside of Gemini's image creator. Like that, like, so I'm using Gemini for that stuff. Like if it drew from some sort of training data and it is from multiple different artists, you know, I'm paying Gemini whatever I'm paying a month. Right now it's $14 a month as a Google Workspace user, which is amazing. Like, you know, some percentage of that goes, you know, pro rata to, you know, whatever amount that token that's attached to that art was used in this artwork. And it's a little bit on the honor system, because it's going to be like, you know, the algorithm determined it was used, you know, and so it's a fraction of a cent. But if people are generating these AI images all the time, right, and like, you know, fractions of a cent add up, no one's going to quit their day job and make royalties from AI generated art. Well, maybe.
No, I think that's a great explanation of it. I think that's really cool. Have you ever used Google's Flow?
It's an open tab that I've been
It is,
trying to get back to.
it's really cool. I mean, so you'll have to upgrade. It's like, I don't know. I think it's like $200 a month or whatever it is. I feel like they're all getting to like $200 a month,
Yeah.
but it's really cool. Now it's only going to give you, cause it's giving you the audio plus the video part of it. That's what's really cool. But it's like in 8-second clips. And so you can't do a lot with it and it screws a lot of things up, but it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm using VO3 actually.
Yeah.
And I'm so I think it might be the same underlying tech. And what I did is I did a CLE for Legal Geek, and in there I made up a legal tech company, because it's a lot of legal tech companies at Legal Geek.
Yeah.
And I made up this ad of this actual human, like saying, are you using this legal tech product? You should be. Or no, it's like, is your lawyer using this legal tech product? They should be. And the reason I came up with that, I'm curious to get your perspective on this. Pharmaceutical companies, they can't sell most of their drugs direct to consumer, to the people that will take the drugs. So they say, ask your doctor about our product. So why isn't any legal tech company like advertising, ask your lawyer about this legal practice management system, right? Like,
it's interesting.
It works. It obviously works. The pharmaceutical companies are killing it, right? Because when you have patients going to their doctor saying, well, what about, Lipitor or whatever, right? So like, can you put me on that?
Okay, so that's interesting. But I guess maybe the difference would be is like the legal tech companies don't have that same barrier that the pharmaceutical companies do. So they can go and they can hire, like they can pay someone like you to, push their product and, you use the software, then you push it, which I think would have more influence. It's not that I don't like it.
Have you ever had a client
of it? Yeah.
Have you ever had a client say, "Are you using Clio or my case?" Or like, have you ever heard them?
No one's ever even asked me what I use. They probably assume I use paper files. I don't know. I mean,
someone's asked me if I use Latera before. It's actually
really
happened. Yeah,
Latera sounds like a pharmaceutical drug.
It totally does.
Ask your attorney if Latera is right for you. It sounds just like a pharmaceutical drug.
I think there's something there. So I don't know. I know maybe you have connections with legal tech people. So keep that in mind.
I think it's funny either way.
But I did it in VO, and it's amazing, and it's totally realistic. You give it instructions. Person of this particular ethnicity is walking away from the camera, turns around and says this line, but you have to spell it out phonetically so they actually say it the way you're supposed to. And it like in a city, and it's perfect. It's like, it's unbelievable.
So I've done quite a bit with VO3, and have you found a good way? Like one of the cool little tricks I learned when it comes to just prompting in general was to like don't make things up. That just one little sentence has been pretty effective. But have you learned any like little tricks when it comes to generating video that has been good for you?
Yeah, I mean, you have to get in the mind of a director, right? Like you have to think like a director, right? You are now director, right? And you're shooting an 8-second video. So you have to think of all the things that go into that. And so if you're not sure what that includes, I would go to Perplexity Pro and I would say, I want to make a 8-second video in VO. I have to get in the mindset of a director. What are the questions I should be asking? I would just use Perplexity, whatever your AI tool of choice is, that your thought partner is, to help you come up with what you want to give VO3. I still find less is more. And I said once, because I was experimenting, and I said, they should not turn around simultaneously, because I tried that same example with 2 people where one person says half a phrase and the other does.
Interesting.
And it made them turn around. I said, don't make them turn around simultaneously. And it did. So like just like with the text-based stuff, sometimes if you said don't do something, it makes it do it. I think the video is still catching up with that.
Yeah, I'm pulling up Perplexity Pro because I prefer that too. I think it's awesome. And have you used the labs at all?
Yes, and I'm not a fan.
I'm not either. And it's one of those things where that's why I wanted to ask you in case you knew a better way of using it. Cause I was like, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it doesn't really fit any purpose for me. And maybe it would work for someone. I even tried to have it script out a commercial for me. I didn't feel like it did a very good job, but otherwise I love Perplexity. That's of all of the AI LLMs, that one's my favorite.
I definitely use it the most, right? Like as it's replaced Google. A good way to use Perplexity may be the labs feature is You do a bunch of questioning back and forth in pro or research, and then you tell it to turn it into a slide deck, right? And it's going to do an okay job. It's not going to be perfect because it's coding. It's like coding PowerPoint from scratch and then like giving you the slide deck. You could tell it what colors you want and all that stuff if you really want to go that far. But I wouldn't even go that far. And then I would take that slide deck and I would put it into Gamma app.
Yeah, Gamma's great.
And then Gamma could like take that and turn into an amazing slide deck.
Gamma is they might be like the industry standard when it comes to slide decks right now.
I'm about to pay to subscribe. Have you been paying?
I have been paying.
Yeah.
It's really good. Now I will say the thing about labs is what's kind of cool is it will, like if you were to ask ChatGPT something and let's say it's a pretty detailed prompt and you're asking for quite a bit, which is not the best way of doing it, but let's say you were. It's going to spit out just the information. But what's cool about labs in Perplexity is it will give you the slides. It will give you the pictures. It'll give you diagrams. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, the outputs are not fantastic right now. So maybe this is one of those things where we're just early days and in a few months, it's going to be awesome. But I do think that part's really cool where it does give you those outputs. It's just not quite ready yet.
Yeah. And I was literally giving a presentation to some law students on how to use Perplexity. When I like refreshed the page, or I opened up a new tab and opened up Perplexity again, and labs all of a sudden appeared. And I was like, wait, this is a new button. And I went back to my other open tabs and it wasn't there. And so like I was there literally when labs launched.
That's
awesome. So it's just so cool. So yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but it's cool to experiment with. I'm sure it will improve. Part of me wishes they wouldn't do that because I want them to just focus on search and answer, which is what they're really, really good at. But I know they kind of feel like they have to compete with all the other features. Like in Gemini, it's called Canvas. Have you used Canvas at all?
No, I've used Gemini. I'm not a big Gemini user though, so I don't even know what Canvas is.
It's just labs, but it's in Gemini. It's the same idea. Yeah, so I think that came first. So I think Perplexity copied Canvas in Gemini for their tool.
So you know how so it's interesting like how Google started and how the route it took. And I don't know how much you know about the history of Google, but they basically
I've listened to the Acquired podcast episode on Google.
Okay, fantastic. And how recent is that?
That's pretty recent. That was like that might have been their last episode or 2 episodes ago. And it's like 3 hours long.
Okay, so my knowledge is from something, I think it was from a Google or like a podcast episode I listened to a while ago, but they had come to this fork in the road where they decided, okay, we could either charge for this, like a subscription base, or we can go the ads route. And they chose the ads route. And a lot of the conversation was about how things would have been so much different had they gone the paid route, and probably maybe how much better it would have been. I think it's interesting because now if you compare it now, everyone's gone the other way. They've gone the subscription route for the most part. They've got a free version.
It's almost like, Tyson, the subscription model is the best business model on the Law Subscribed podcast.
I like the way you did that to full circle. But yes, maybe you're right. But I do find it, I do wonder who's going to win because Google won that race, right? They toppled Yahoo. They toppled Bing. I don't think anybody ever used Bing, but Yahoo was like the king before. They toppled everybody else. But I do wonder who's going to win this race. One of them is going to win the race. There's going to be the other ones that are going to be still around probably. But one's going to clearly win. Right now, ChatGPT is. But I do wonder who's going to ultimately win this race.
I actually think ChatGPT is going to be the Yahoo and AOL of it. And right now, unpopular opinion, but I think, now don't get me wrong, it's still going to be incredibly valuable underlying technology, right? But it's a foundational, it's like, so yeah, whenever I see somebody who's like using ChatGPT, I'm like, oh, that's like seeing like an at Yahoo or at AOL email. Cause like I'm using all these other AI tools that are not now Perplexity does let you pick to use the foundational GPT models from OpenAI if you want to, right? So like, I think that tech will always be available because it's incredibly powerful. I just think that there are so many interesting specialized tools that are more useful for their specialized purpose that it's just like the law practice management softwares, right? Like, do you want an all-in-one solution that's mediocre or maybe even pretty good at like some things, but not everything that it does? Or do you want the best breed? And if it's priced right, like you're going to go best of breed every time, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's funny. I'm very curious to see if you're right about being the Yahoo, but I'm smiling because you touched on something that's always bothered me about legal tech is that there is not an all-in-one. It is there is nothing that's all in one. And that has always driven me crazy. And I understand the reasons why. I completely understand the reasons why. We don't need to get on into all of it. But it really is annoying to me that as lawyers, we can't just come in, log into one software, and everything we need is in that software. It drives me absolutely crazy that doesn't exist. I understand the reasons why, but it still drives me crazy.
So I believe what you're asking for, though, like what I would ask for, is a Roku, but for legal tech or SaaS solutions, right? Where
Fine. Yes, perfect. Give me that.
Because you still maybe want to use Calendly, and you maybe want to use, Paxton or whatever your preferred, legal AI tool is. But they're not building an all-in-one solution, but they're best of breed, right? But if I could sign into one software solution that I could bring in my favorite tech and maybe even have them interact with each other inside that Roku, like for SaaS solutions. So you don't have to use Zapier. You don't have to use Make for this best of breed tech. Is that what you're saying?
That's probably why I like Zoho so much. That's why we use Zoho, because Zoho is kind of like that's a great way of putting it. That's kind of like the Roku of softwares, because it's got everything that you need to run a business inside of. We don't use everything that has, but we do use a big part of it. Can we talk about legal AI, like the legal research for a second?
Well, so we got about 10 minutes left.
Okay, because you touched on that. I want to ask you about it.
Okay, so I mean, you it's hard to get the podcast host out of the podcast headspace, right? Because
it is. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And I will say we missed it from Emmett. He said my understanding of the NFT could be used to get a ticket for MaxLawCon. So thanks for that segue, Emmett. We missed it.
Excellent
way to bring it back. We'll come back to MaxLawCon before we wrap up, but sure, let's ask away on the legal stuff, legal tech.
Because I was so mad. I used to love Case Text. Case Text was great. They had co-counsel, and then that other big nasty company bought it and then killed it, and it makes me so angry because it was a superior product. Now you can't use Case Text, so it's like I've got to the point where I refuse to pay that other company. So is there a legal research platform that you or any of your listeners recommend?
So even before they were a sponsor of this show, and the way, link in the show notes to make sure they know I sent you. Paxton really has.
Oh, I thought you were going to mention the other company.
No, Paxton. When I went solo, I pivoted from litigation to transactional. And so I actually didn't need legal research as much as I used to. And so I was using Fast Case through the Illinois State Bar Association when I really needed to, which was 2 or 3 times a year.
Sure.
Let's be real, right? But then when Paxton came around, now it's it's not intuitive to the way we've learned to do legal research, but it is just so much easier, right?
We use Paxton. That's something we use, but
you can't do traditional legal research in it though, right? Yeah. Like it's not designed to look up this specific case. It's just not built for that, because I think that's the old way of practicing law too.
Yeah.
Realistically.
It's funny. Our younger attorneys are asking for the old way. It's kind of interesting to me that they.
So that's how law school. Like Dennis Kennedy just had this LinkedIn viral post.
I love Dennis Kennedy. He's a St. Louis guy. Love Dennis.
Yeah. And so he just had this viral post about which will change first, legal education or the law firm business model. There's this great debate in the comment section, because legal education is slow to change. They have to go through the accreditation process, right? But at the same time, lawyers who just came out of that system, even the young ones, are it's not like the way I learned to do it in law school.
Well, those companies are like the pharmaceutical companies, where they'll go, they dictate what happens in the law schools because they give some money, and then they have the representatives there and all that. So that part will have to change before everything else changes. That's what will have to happen.
Here's what I think Paxton is doing that's really cool, and I've seen some other legal tech companies do this, and I'm in the process of hiring my first law student as a legal extern, is they have the student pricing on there. So the student could sign up with Paxton, but I could pay the $35 a month, which is way more affordable than $200 a month, right? So I like that student pricing that's available, but I, the law firm, will pay on that student's behalf as a form of not really compensation, but as a software expense for that student to use it. But it's their account, right? They're signing up because it's an externship, so it's only for a few months anyway. But then they get access to it to play around with it and use it in a full featured environment, which is what I need for them to be using, right?
Yeah, so it's better than nothing, but I would say, I think to me, a smarter move would be just give it to them for free. And I know that would suck And there will be a few that would take advantage of that, law firm owners that would take advantage of that. But I think because you have to really, I mean, a lot of law students are going to say that I don't have money to do that, so I'm not going to pay for that. So they won't. And I think the smarter move would be, okay, just give it to them for free. You're going to basically train them in this. That's why so many law students want it. Like you get it in their blood. And then that way, by the time they get out there, they'll want to use it.
Yeah, I know like Paxton and some of these other legal AI companies have raised tons of money, but I don't think it's that much money.
Like no, not compared to the big ones. They're just not even close.
But I don't know, are Lexis and Westlaw, are they giving away the AI products fully for free? I don't know that they are.
I think that the law schools are paying them
per token.
The law schools are paying them, I think.
Yeah, it's too expensive per token to give it away for free, I think. So yeah, like maybe they could strike up deals with the law schools. Then that might be an option. I mean, look, for me, if I do talk to my alma mater, DePaul Law in Chicago, once a year, every year, to the new incoming 1Ls about AI and legal tech, and I tell them, I'm like, it's not everybody could afford it, but if you've got $20 to spend, or $200 a year, like you got to start using the paid version of these AI tools. Like, don't go, like when you go out, like to bar events or whatever events, like, and you might pay $20 or, $40 for drinks or food or something, don't, and spend that money instead on like the paid version of these AI tools.
Great. I think it's great advice. I don't know how many of them will take the advice, but I think it's great advice.
They don't even know what AI is, most of them. Like 3 people raised their hands that they're using AI. It's unbelievable. Well, so we got about 5 minutes left. Let's talk about MaxLawCon. How about it, Tyson?
Yep. So I've completely derailed it because I know you want to talk about it earlier, but I think that people might enjoy the other stuff a little bit more. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I was going to say, if you liked this conversation between me and Tyson, think about coming to MaxLawCon, because like this is an example I have to imagine about the types of conversations that people are going to have, whether it's on stage or in between speakers or at the guild programming the day before, right? Like this is the type of thing that people can expect to experience, right?
Yeah, it's for anyone that's never been, it is, the feel is way different. It would than any other conference I've ever been to. The closest I've ever been to is closest conference I've ever been to that's similar was Icon with Infusionsoft, where like there's just like this very positive field. Everyone's looking to bring each other up. You're talking about, okay, what's working for you, what's not working for you, kind of a thing. It's not a conference where we let people just pitch from the stage. We don't let them pitch from the stage at all. They're short, focused presentations, so you cut out all the fluff. So it's more of like the TED style in a way where you have I'm looking at the agenda right now where they 20 minutes. That's how long. That's the longest that a lot of them have. We do have a couple speakers that have got a little bit longer. I think 45 minutes is the longest we have, but we keep it nice and tight. Most of them are law firm owners or, marketing people or management people that are going to come talk. I'm looking at one of the ones I'm looking the most forward to is, I don't know if you've ever had Jeff Hampton on, but his title is How to Double Your Law Firm's Revenue by Building a Brand on YouTube. And it was funny because we had, at the same time that we were booking Jeff, and I didn't know Becca was booking Jeff to come on the show. I had watched a video of Jeff. Because I was on YouTube and I looked. It was a cool video. I watched. It was 20 minutes and I watched all of it. And then next thing you know, it was like a week later. I had Jeff on. I'd never seen him before. Didn't connect the dots. I was like, holy crap! I just watched your video last week. And but it's things like that. It was just really cool. But yeah, the feel is it's a cool feel, and we have a lot of cool things planned for the conference, which I'm pretty excited about.
Is that the guy who says he doesn't worry about what his episode notes say on YouTube? Is that what he said on the episode?
I think Jeff did say he doesn't care what his description looks like.
It's the same for every single, because like he's not focused on that. He's focused on the long form content, right? Like I really liked that. Yeah. That's the approach I've been using. So when I heard him say that, I was like, great, I just got to keep doing it. I'm not worried about it. I was
shocked by that. So like he presented in the guild a while ago, and he gave there's 10 things you focus on. It was funny, because we've been doing that with Max Law, and it's made up an amazing difference. So I think a lot of it is just simple stuff, and it's not, some of it's not so simple, but some of it's just simple. But apparently the video description is not one of the things you have to focus on.
Yeah, just here's how to buy from me.
Pretty much.
If you like the video, here's how to buy from me. Yeah. I mean, there are some phenomenal speakers, like you said, even going back to earlier conversation about us still practicing law and doing the things that we're doing that help law firm owners. There's a lot, like I'm looking at some of these people have multiple businesses, right? Like they are managing partner at a law firm and they're running some other business that's related to improving your business or your law firm or something. So they are still practicing. Like there's so much to learn and gain from being a practitioner and eating your own dog food and like actually doing the things that you coach people to do or suggest people do. And then the people who are not law firm owners, still super relevant to being a law firm owner, like with the subject matter expertise that they have that are not, like some of them might be former lawyers, but I know like Chelsea Williams, for example, who's been on the podcast, who's been on Law Subscribed, financial, like you got to have somebody there to talk about law firm finances, right? It's absolutely essential. So really sweet lineup. And I do say that, myself included, being there.
Yes, you're gonna be on day one. It's interesting. So I think one of the ones that's gonna be really fun is it's gonna be the spouses. That we have 3 or 4 sets of spouses that are gonna be on the stage, and it's gonna be a panel that we're gonna have a lot of fun with that one. So kind of think dating game in a way. I'll kind of tease a little bit. So that one's gonna be kind of fun. There's a lot like Heather Olson. She's gonna be doing Turning Swag into Swagger, which is a great title. I know you're gonna be talking about some AI stuff, which is like really cool. But the CFO part you mentioned with Chelsea, there's something that law firm owners, they don't like to talk about the financial part of it, which is like the most important part of it most of the time. So I think she's fantastic. So that's gonna be a really good one.
Yeah. So yeah, a little small tease for my talk. So it's called, I want to make sure I say it right here. Well, of course, like we're doing this live and I'm trying to pull it up and it's not coming up, but it's essentially, it's the latent legal market opportunities with AI and subscriptions, essentially is what it boils down to. When I'm really excited about giving a talk at MaxLawCon is years ago when I was just launching my firm, when I was just launching the podcast, I actually applied to be a TED fellow and put together a TED talk based on this idea. And now I've learned so much and we've had the AI revolution and I'm updating that talk. So like, I'm ready to go. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. If people want to meet Tyson and myself in person at MaxLawCon, you go to MaxLawCon.com. Amazing. It'll redirect you to the place to get it. I mean, you talk about domains. That's one of the many domains. We
get that one early.
I'm sure. And like con is in conference, MaxLawCon. But if you want Tyson and the Maximum Lawyer folks to know I sent you, if you're watching live on LinkedIn, there's the comment. In the comments, I put my link. And in the podcast episode, look at the show notes and they'll know I sent you. It's okay if you just go to MaxLawCon.com. It's okay. But at least that way I could be invited back to future years. Tyson will know. And not only did he give a great presentation, but he helped send us, 10 or 20 attendees. So
well, make sure you go to the link because I want to make sure that we can thank Mathew for supporting us and everything and for speaking. So make sure you do use the link though, because MaxLawCon is easier. .com's easier to say and remember, but use the link. It's easier. You're probably listening to this. If you're watching on LinkedIn, just click it right now. But if you're like listening, you can go to the show notes. It'll be in there.
All right. So, and then remember to stick around for LinkedIn Lag, but if people wanted to follow up with you, reach out, listen to stuff, subscribe, where do they do all the thing? Tell them all the links.
Either they can go to MaximumLawyer.com or MaxLawGuild.com, or just, you can follow me at Lawyer Tyson on all the social medias. So I'm on LinkedIn as well. So Tyson Mutrux, but I'm on at Lawyer Tyson and all the other stuff, but really MaximumLawyer.com is the easiest way to find me.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we'll stick around and thanks again so much for coming on Law Subscribe Live.
Thanks, man. Thanks everybody for watching. It's awesome.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. Make someone's day by sharing this episode with them. The best way to get in touch is to follow and message me on LinkedIn. To get extra content, subscribe to the newsletter at www.lawsubscribe.com, where you can also become a paid subscriber to get episodes and content early. Until next time, this is Mathew Kerbis with Law Subscribed.